To this now, a sister-in-law of former President Jacob Zuma and whose sons are among the 19 South African men trapped in Ukraine wants those who recruited the men under false pretenses to be prosecuted. Pumla Zuma says she's desperate for the safe return of her 3 sons and 5 grandchildren. The South African Police Service has confirmed that the Directorate for Priority Crime Investigations, DPCI, is currently probing a case against President Zuma Sambudla over the alleged recruitment of young men for the conflict in question. We've roped in Professor Ntsikelelo Breakfast, who's the acting director of the Center of Security, Peace and Conflict Resolution at Nelson Mandela University. Prof, a very good afternoon to you, and thank you so much for your time. What do you make of this, the story? It is particularly concerning not only for, the family concerned, but also for South Africa, I would imagine. I mean, these are 19 men who are stuck in Ukraine, in a war zone, literally. And it would also involve, of course, the Zuma family, as we are hearing now. From a diplomacy perspective, also from a security perspective, these are quite concerning circumstances.
Yes, of course. I think it's all well and good for the party to sort of like clear the air that it has nothing to do with this. But then the party will need to do more than that to do damage control. Because, first of all, this person who is accused, I think, has a political capital, meaning that she has a political advantage because she's the daughter of the founder of the party. I think that it holds back other members of the party from speaking their minds, because under normal circumstances, I think the party would have acted by taking a disciplinary action against the member. Of course, there is a legal action that has been instituted against the member, but that is outside the party, because what this does at a political level, it paints a bad picture about the party, as you indicated when you're sitting the scene, that this is also about the violation of human rights, because you recruit people without their knowledge and they end up participating in a war. But also, as you indicated, it does create a tension in terms of the diplomatic relationship between us and the Russian government. But I think the party, it looks like it is using a softy approach, because they should have taken a hard liners approach by instituting a disciplinary action or putting the person on a special leave, in my view. So it can be seen to be doing something, because it has not done anything than making some statements and so on. Yeah.
We know, of course, around this matter, there are charges against those alleged recruiters and counter charges against others. And it all involves one family and one political party, as you've also rightfully put it. What is DIRCO's responsibility here, and how complicated a task would it be for DIRCO in terms of just legal and also protective obligation, notwithstanding, of course, the diplomatic sensitivities around this matter?
So DIRCO is, among other things, responsible for the implementation of our foreign policy in terms of our relationship with other states. So at a diplomatic level, I think it has a duty to make sure that this situation doesn't affect our long-standing relationship with the Russian government. But also, I think it needs to assist, as it always does, in other cases, in terms of helping those families who have their loved ones who were recruited without their knowledge that they will end up participating in this war. But I think this is a very unfortunate situation. I can't describe it seriously, because to recruit people without their knowledge and make them participate in a war, it's so bad.
And I mean, there are two processes here, Prof. You know, we've got the domestic issue, of course, where these charges have been laid. And if, you know, further investigations happen, we might see then a legal process taking place. But when you look at the center of what's playing itself out in as far as these young men are concerned. In our intro, we said 19 because the reports were that 19 men were actually involved here. 2 are presumed killed during this conflict of sorts. When you look at the relationship between South Africa and Russia, could that play a role in terms of having these men come home safely, do you think?
Yes, yes, of course. I think South Africa has a long standing, especially, look, I mean, we don't have a ruling party now. The ANC is no longer in power, but it does have a majority within the context of this arrangement of the GNU, and it still enjoys a good diplomatic relationship with Putin, the Russian government. So I don't think that it will be difficult to reach out to the Russian government and ask them to assist by bringing down those young men who were made to participate in that particular war. So yeah, I think that's the only thing that DECO maybe could do, given the fact that we enjoy this good bilateral relationship.
And Prof, before I let you go, I mean, we have been speaking extensively to the families involved, and our reporters, in fact, spoke to, you know, the sister-in-law of former President Jacob Zuma, whose sons are also involved, as well as grandchildren, Pumla Zuma. When you hear her speak and she talks about the levels of unemployment that have essentially are to blame here for these men taking up these jobs, even though they come at, you know, at very high cost. What does that then signal, particularly for the South African government?
So it speaks to what you brought to bear earlier on, the issue of security, because security is a multidimensional concept. The issue of unemployment is a security matter. The issue of poverty, those are security issues that maybe in future the government needs to address. But also, yeah, I mean, hopefully something of this nature, information could be intercepted in advance so that this is stopped.
Absolutely. Prof, thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate it. Professor Ntsikelelo Breakfast is the acting director of the Center for Security, Peace and Conflict Resolution at the Nelson Mandela University.